Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, everybody, and happy Sunday night to all of you from Unlock the Middle, a place where we have an opportunity to come together and really celebrate amazing things that are happening within our schools across the country. My name is Dean Packard, and I'm the principal of Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts. And tonight, our table is filled with guests from 7 states across the nation of the United States of America, where we are going to all come together and talk about traveling from chaos to completion throughout our years. You know, we talk a lot about the educators and students doing a bang-up job this year, Chris, but I'll tell you what, tonight's about leadership and all the great work that leaders have done to navigate this train from the beginning to the end. And when we talked about chaos, we all could probably say it was very chaotic when we started, but now coming to completion, we're all in a pretty good place and we're all pretty excited. So first and foremost, Chris, my co-host, how are you tonight?
Absolutely awesome, Dean. Coming off a fantastic weekend. We're up into the 90s finally. I think the last time we talked, we were down in the 40s with cold rain falling upon us on a Memorial Day weekend. Hey, we are talking about the conclusion to the most bizarre school year that any of us have ever envisioned or participated in. There is no book, there is no playbook, there is no guidebook, there's no experience that we had to relate to, and we all adapted and overcame, quite honestly. I'm really excited tonight though, Dean, because we get to talk to Joe Clark, Stacy Monette, Stacy Green, and our regular crew, Joe, Josh, AJ, Frederick, yourself, and me, about this idea of going from chaos to completion. And that makes me really excited because I get to hear from all different corners of the country about how our experiences were similar, yet different.
No, the finish line is in front of us all. We're all taking a deep breath. And tonight at the table, we're going to get to hear through the lens of everybody here what it was like from beginning to end. So, hey, let's just start off right now, man. And let's go right to the superintendent of the group right here, Dr. Joe Clark. Joe, from your lens, man, talk about from the beginning to the end, how you guys are shaping up right now and what it looks like.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am, you guys, I think maybe you know, I have 6 older brothers. And when I was a kid, my brothers used to make me climb to the top of a tree and they'd throw baseballs at me. And nothing's prepared me more for COVID than that experience because, we're talking about wrapping up the year. In reality, guys, it's been 2 years. There was no off season last summer. I'm exhausted. I'm just emotionally, mentally exhausted from getting through 2 years. Last March, last April, it felt like they were sending you into a kitchen blindfolded saying, make a gourmet meal. And it was just really, really tough. We have great teachers, great administrators. And as we made it through this year and we got to the point where teachers started getting vaccinated, it was like a weight off of our shoulders. We really wound up the school year feeling really good. And we're excited to be on break. And we're really excited to be back in the fall. I think I'm knocking on wood, I think it might be normal next fall.
We're hearing that there's a possibility of that across the board, which isn't a bad thing. So let's take that a step further. Let's go over to Dr. Monette. Stacy, you actually have done a great job in finishing up your doctoral program. So congratulations to you with that. So again, with that being said, through your lens at your school, let's talk about where you started to where you ended and how it looks right now.
So, I can't, we look back and I just put in my vacation time for the summer and I'm sure everybody on the screen, nobody had a vacation last summer. It was the first time in my life I didn't have one single vacation day the entire summer. So when I put in my time, I'm like, this is really going to happen. I'm actually going to have some time off. But it's amazing to me to think because we've moved into so many phases, it feels like now all of a sudden really quickly that we're here and we're finishing on somewhat of a normal note that I keep saying to the teachers, it feels like the students have forgotten how far we've come and the chaos. And it's wild to me to think that we are ending somewhat way more normal than even I predicted, which I'm glad because I've already put this school year aside. It's a wash to me. It's done and over with. I'm more worried about the fall. So I'm already in I'm going to take a few days off and reset. And then I've got to come back and start thinking about what we're going to do to get back to normalcy. But, we're going to do a lot of celebrating in the next week because I feel like I don't want people to forget, the students and staff, what we've overcome, because it feels like it's been so long, but we're there. We made it. Like, we survived.
I love that you talk about celebration, because you know what, when you stop and step back for a second, everybody needs that celebratory moment for crossing this line together, which is absolutely huge. Thanks for sharing that out. Let's go over to Kansas. Out in Kansas, the mid part of our nation. Stacy Green, how about you through your lens?
Good evening. I'm coming off an all-time high. We just finished 3 days of United School Administrator Conference in person. And mind you, 600 educators from Kansas who came together the last 3 days. We were Wednesday through Friday, which we didn't think would happen. And there was just this sense of walking in, knowing we've been through Zoom together all year, checked in on each other through huddles, through Voxes, through chats, all these things. But to come into one room, and there's this collective, I mean, there were all times high. There were tears, there was laughter, and like you said, Stacy, you've got to celebrate, but also take a few minutes to think about all that we've gone through and to reflect on that, learn from it, and move forward. But we've come a long way. We were blessed to be in person. I'm in Northwest Kansas, clear across the state. In the eastern part, I have some schools that never set foot in the school since last March. So it's very different for everyone, but we were blessed to be in person and to finish strong.
Good stuff. Glad to hear that. Let's go down south to Texas. Josh Tovar.
Well, it's amazing, because when this whole situation began, I was still a principal in El Paso, Texas. And so I was hired, and I left that campus at the end of February when it hit, when the whole shebang closed down. And so I was running the school in Garland ISD in Garland, Texas, from El Paso. And now we're preparing for, in 2 days, our graduation, because our campus is 6 through 12. And so our campus is about to go, having those kids walk the stage. And I've been very blessed that, my Lord and Savior protected me through all this journey from El Paso here, moved my whole family. And not only that, but was able to ensure that our team members stayed united, because due to the nature of our campus, we had no substitutes. And I'm pretty sure all of you had the same situation. You had no substitutes. So not only did we have to cover for ourselves, but we had to send some of our team members to other schools to substitute. So that created a different anomaly about culture and climate that we always talk about. But now it feels so great being in my home, my second home, blessed by those individuals that not only took care of my family arriving here to Garland, but also that we were able to support the whole district. But now we're supporting a cohort of kids walking across the stage so they could live their dreams. Along the way, it's been controlled chaos like everybody else. It's been total controlled anarchy at times, to where you get home and you don't even have time to rest because you're so tired. You're so tired because you're trying to keep up with every team member, making them feel appreciated, making every kid say, you know what, let me help you because I know that your family is going from couch to couch. Let me help you. Oh, so on and so forth. So, I'm very blessed as an educator that I'm surrounded by peers at Memorial Pathway Academy that are such loving team members. And not only that, but you know what, that we've been able to, like you all said, finish like it really wasn't there. My body tells me it was there. My brain tells me it was there. The memories tell me it was there. But you know what? Somehow it's at almost normal. Does that sound crazy to you? I don't know about y'all, but that's been our story.
Normal is the next thing we're looking for, which I love. Hey, let's head down to sunny Florida, Boca Raton. Joe.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Honestly, I couldn't tell any which way that doesn't matter what state you were in, what school you were at, that you were going to share a lot of similar experiences just over these. To be honest with you, I think we're getting close to that 16, 17-month mark. In regards to what this has been. Obviously, this summer, not just for administrators, but for teachers and all staff, was spent with a lot of questions and a lot of unknowns. So really, we've gone straight through. This has been the marathon of all marathons for education in general. And to be honest with you, coming up to this point where we're really going to take a step back and get a few weeks to breathe. Unfortunately, down here in Palm Beach, we still got 2 more weeks to go, and we have a shortened summer. So it's kind of like that bittersweet kind of situation down here right now. But really, in all honesty, I think we're going to take what we can get at this point in time just to get some rest, some mental rest, and be able to reset. But so many lessons, so many things that we learned along the way that are going to make us stronger moving forward, so we can feel appreciative of that. But for us, my school in general, only about 8 miles southwest or northeast of Parkland, Stoneman, Douglas. So this has been a continued instance of the school changing culture-wise, community-wise. So it's been heavy. So we're definitely looking forward to getting some rest this summer and getting rock and rolling again. I think that the teachers are getting excited about getting that time. So I'm looking forward to it, man. But I mean, eerily, I think this is when we all really came together. Principals all over the nation, teachers everywhere, because we all were in such the same boat.
Good stuff. Dr. White, Tennessee.
Well, I think we've run the gauntlet for this pandemic piece. It has been, I think it really started off for us really hectic, but we are blessed. We had great leadership in our superintendent who, got us in, made sure all of our kids had devices, told us, hey, we're going to, protect the kids. All of this, made us feel safe. So from that point, just all of the other things that we had to begin to change with this being online and teaching piece. It has taken us through so many different emotions throughout the school year. People being excited for kids to get on virtually, and then them just being over the virtual piece, just done with having to only see your kids through the screen. And then when we started to filter back in with some of our kids coming face to face, they got that little bit of lift, and now we're toward that end. Now we're just trying our best to push it through. One of the things I asked my teachers to do, if they could afford it, not to do summer school and not to, because they need that break. So many teachers have been right there on the edge and have barely made it to the end to turn around and have to work Summer Learning Academy or summer school to, make sure they have their finances safe. But I just told them if they can afford not to, then they shouldn't. I need everybody to come back as rested as possible. I think we already take that, stress upon ourselves as principals. But, I'm just like you. I've already put my time in for my little, few days that I can get away. My wife is working summer school. So I told her, hey, I'm still going to take a vacation now, maybe a fellows trip, but we're still going to do something. You have to get away. You have to decompress from this year, even though we are so blessed to have made it through it, and our kids to not had any complications with it. Our kids have just been great. They've, given everything that they possibly could. Our parents have been supportive. And once again, my teachers are the best teachers on the planet because they have made it through it with me as their boss. So hey, that's a good one.
I'm glad you talked about the breaks and taking that, hitting the pause button, pumping the brakes, and just relaxing for a little bit. That's needed across the board for everybody, especially when we're hearing all these things about the gaps in learning and how we got to stay out in front of it. Guess what? Shut it down. Just shut it down. Stop, catch your breath, come back strong. I think we'll be better off the more people that do that. But I think a lot of school districts are going to be pushing forward to ensure that they have something set up for these kids during the summertime. I know it's slow in our district. People aren't signing up in droves to be able to work in the summer. And I cringe every time I ask somebody to do that, only because of the fact I get it. We all need to take that break. AJ, you're up. New Jersey, man.
This year has been a complete blur for me. So a year ago at this time, I was a supervisor of instruction and technology in a different district altogether. And I was helping them create their plan going forward for graduation and trying to figure out what it's going to look like for the fall, until an opportunity came that I can become a vice principal, my dream job, in a different district. So I made that switch between August and October. And then I came into a school where the kids were virtual, and we were virtual until November, and then there for a couple of weeks, and then virtual again until January, where we've been full-time ever since. So for me, just dealing with two different schools, a lot of different plans, the idea of, getting my family oriented into school and me, it's been nuts. But throughout the whole thing, I've had my wife, I had my kids kind of push me and be there for me. I've had some extremely wonderful teachers at both schools that I've been in that have been doing a fantastic job of managing and dealing with this entire pandemic. But, I think we got to look at the kids and really just let them see how resilient they were. They forget about all this. They don't realize how much they've gone through. They just say, we've been remote, we've been in person, we've been remote, but they've been pushing really hard. So I'm really, really happy those kids are back. I'm happy that we're experiencing a normal. I'm happy we got the vaccinations for them, for us. We just need to get this thing back going, because I want to experience school that's not half days. I want to experience school that's full time, where I can actually engage with teachers and students, throughout an 8 to 4 day, and really begin to have some fun instead of what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it's called triage. Chris, speak on behalf of our district, my friend. We're sister schools, so talk a little bit about where we're at and kind of the direction we looking to celebrate.
Yeah, I think the personal side of from March 12th in the late afternoon, when I was sitting in a parking lot getting the phone call for my phone, my oldest daughter, Molly, who's at the Hill, she's a junior this year, and my wife, all our phones went off at the same time and the message was, school's going to be closed tomorrow. And, the initial reaction was, come on, seriously? And then all of a sudden it turned into, oh, wow, this is real. Frederick, you mentioned the idea of emotions. We didn't know what we were going into, and it ran the gamut of frustration, fear, anger, right on up to the we got this. We got an amazing team. And then as principals, we all sat down and said, okay, we have amazing teams, but how much can we ask these folks to do? How much should we do for them? How much should we take off their plate? How much can we put on their plate? Where can we have the pressure applied? Where should we take the pressure off? How can we support families? How can we support our own families? So emotion, without a doubt, was an absolute exhausting driver over this entire school year, dating back to last, 2 Marches ago. But as we sit down and think about it, as in our district here, we're back to normal, quote unquote, in terms of schedule, in terms of routine. We still have restrictions, obviously, with mask wearing and social distancing and what we can do for the cafeteria and things like that. But, we sit down and we look at all the technical changes that we had to make this year in terms of, parent drop-off. We've created a brand new parent drop-off schedule, brand new bus arrival schedule, brand new dismissal procedures, brand new lunch experiences for kids and faculty and staff, passing periods. It all looks very different. We built 5 new master schedules across the school year. All this stuff points to emotional exhaustion because nobody is happy with anything. And it has been exceptionally challenging being in the role. Now, that said, much like what Stacy said, there have been rewards there. There have been identifications of successes. Kids don't realize how far they have actually come. Dean mentioned learning loss a little while ago, and I absolutely loathe the idea that there's learning loss. Benchmarks are fictitious. We created them. We can redefine them. We can't compare apples to apples 3 years ago to now, but what we can do is examine what kids' resiliency looks like and what kids' abilities look like moving forward. Executive functioning skills, managing remote learning from the home environment, the ability to engage educationally remotely. Come on, these are all amazing skills that we don't have on a standardized assessment. Don't even get me started about the standardized assessments that we have to go through, and I still have to deal with tomorrow morning. But, for me, one of the biggest challenges in this chaos has been managing the emotion, and I'm sure that everybody's in the same boat. But just this past week, my oldest daughter, she's a junior, she had a cough, congestion. Guess what happened? She had to get COVID tested, and it's no big deal because the test was negative and everybody was healthy, but she had to miss learning time, direct learning time. And that was a real challenge and a significant challenge for her as well. For me, guess who the de facto administrator in the district is? This guy. So not that there was blame placed on there, but the understanding the personalized impact that this environment has on kids who really want to learn and want to engage with their educators on a daily basis. that's very, very challenging because our mission is to meet the needs of kids. So we had our highs, we had our lows. Yeah, man, did we grind? And did our teachers step up? Did our parents and community step up? People are still amazed at what we have done. I saw somebody at the barber shop the other day with my little high and tight, and one of the messages was, no idea how you guys did it. Absolutely amazing experience. My kids are happy. They're extremely satisfied. And I've gone on way too long talking about it, but it's all that emotionally driven, emotionally charged energy that has taken the life really out of every one of us. But we have time over the summer.
Yeah, let's take that life and talk about that. We're going to talk about looking at patching what we consider the holes that need to be filled moving forward. We talked about soft skills, Chris. I think you hit it right on the head of all the things we can celebrate that kids have really grown with. But let's talk about how we're going to move forward now and really sell to our community, our parents, our caregivers, our teachers, the whole learning community together, what it's going to look like as we begin to move forward into next year. We know we're going to hit that pause button, pump the brakes, but I, as a leader, I am going to ensure that I'm out in front and really, really accentuating all the things that people have learned throughout this time to make them feel comfortable about that. And I think it's going to be part of the strategy moving forward as we open up schools next year. So let's go back, Dr. Clark, let's start off with you. We're talking about the community, how we're going to patch it all together, and how we're going to celebrate and sell when we open up next year.
Yeah, I would say a couple things. The first would be that, I've been a superintendent for 10 years. I can count on one hand the number of times community members have called me with concerns about academics. It's cheerleading, it's busing, it's cafeteria, it's all of that kind of stuff. Honestly, I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, people are not going to contact us in the community and say, what are you doing for the learning loss? That's an internal discussion. Internally, what we know is we have awesome teachers. Every year, our value-added scores are really high. Our teachers take our kids farther than they should every year, and it's going to take some time, but we're going to get our kids caught up. There's no doubt in our minds we're going to do that. We're a little more concerned about the social emotional, kids coming back who haven't been there for a while. All of our, we have transitions at our 5th, 6th grade building, our 7th, 8th grade building, and our high school. Kids that are they're in the second year of that building, but they haven't really been there. So all of those transition pieces that we've got to make sure kids are aware of. Academically, we're going to be fine. And same thing, Chris. I've had so many community members come up to me and they're like, dude, I have no idea how you guys did what you did. We're glad that you did. And academics, quite honestly, just isn't part of the discussion. We're back to normal. You have our kids. Thank you. And let's not forget, last year when everybody was saying teachers are heroes, let's not forget that when kids are back, they're still heroes, even without COVID. I think we have a newfound appreciation for teachers that I want to make sure that we don't let escape because we're back to normalcy.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing it out. Stacy, Belchertown, Massachusetts. Let's hear a little more from you.
Okay, so, I told you before, my wheels are already turning about what we're going to do. And I was interviewing for a position I was interviewing somebody else for a position. Let me just say that live. And one of the questions I asked is I said, I'm just curious to see it was for a counseling position. I said, I'm curious to see what you think the challenges are going to be for middle schoolers coming out of COVID in the fall. And, she nailed it. Exactly what I was thinking. Like, we're going to have to get back to consistency and structure. And I feel like, middle schoolers, they've liked really a lot of parts of this. And my biggest concern is how do we rein them in? But I have to be honest, there's parts of COVID that I have liked. Like, I like the mask breaks and I like to see my students walking outside around my building and everybody kind of taking time and allowing themselves to take time out of their day to get up and say, we're going to stretch now, we're going to take a mask break. I'm already throwing out there, I've already told everybody the first 2 weeks of school, I don't know if you remember, Dean, I do the first 3 days where it's, we just relationship building and we get to know each other. We're doing a 2-week digital detox. So I'm already putting it out there before teachers, I'm saying that publicly now, only a few select teachers in my building know that who are on my instructional leadership team. I'm giving away all my secrets, but I feel like the kids need to know that there's going to be some parts that are traditional and some parts that are non-traditional. Going back to the teachers, the academics, that's the least of my concerns right now. The learning loss, whatever. they're now throwing out, they've completely switched it now to it's learning recovery. I'm going to be optimistic. I don't think we're as bad off as we think we are. I think we were pretty lucky when we pivoted. I'm seeing teachers who are like, I've gotten further into my curriculum maps than I ever have. And I'm like, okay, I'm not sure how you did that, but I'm good, But I think my biggest thing is with teachers, every time I go to sign a professional development, what teachers have learned, and I've said this over and over again, what they have learned in this short period of time, they should almost get a free pass for the next 5 years. It has been absolutely mind-blowing to me to see my teachers. And when I say celebrate, I do a lot of conversations with teachers going, I don't think you've realized that you literally jumped in head first and you've learned all this stuff that you never would have learned in a normal traditional. So I'm looking at it a very different lens that I feel like this is the opportunity to flip some traditional things and to really make it our own. I'm excited. I'm cautiously optimistic that I'm really worried that students are going to have a hard time when they come back. But I think if we pace them out and if we set the expectations, I looked at my assistant principal last week, and the kids were out. The 6th graders are wild because we've never had them in. They're brand new to our school. I didn't have any expectations, and I'm like, we've lost them. We're too far. I'm like, we've got a week left. Just let them go. Like, they're wearing whatever they want. They're doing whatever they want. I'm like, we've lost them. It will not be like that next year, but there's going to have to be a fine line to just make sure. Some parts I like. So hopefully that made sense.
You're super smart to catch that, because you're not alone when you say that, because every school's, that's the same challenge for all of us. And you pick and choose your battles on what you're going to fight and what you're not, especially with the finish line 2 weeks away. So I'm glad. Middle
school right now got completely derailed when we brought them back. It did. And, kids know it. I mean, they look at me as they're walking down the hall and they're on their cell phone. I'm like, at this point right now, it's a lost cause. But I'm like, wait until September.
Yeah. Then the hammer drops. I love it. Okay, back to structure. Let's
Enjoy
go off to Kansas. Stacy.
Yes, I was sitting here thinking, like, my mind's just going crazy. And it's like you said, drop the boundaries across the United States, that 7 states could be represented here. And our stories are similar regardless of where we are. But I feel like we had jumped the gun in a way, because we have been a redesigned school in Kansas. This is our 4th full year. And we were given from our state department an opportunity to redesign our school with what's most important for our kids. And we chose social emotional learning. So that was our number one goal. Academics equally important, but we knew we knew love first and that teach second. And so we had really worked on thinking about that social emotional part of our students and building our day around that, and then bringing the academic piece in. And through that design thinking model, like last March, when that call for ours came on the 13th, that Friday, and I look at that next week when we started talking, we went right into that decision-making model where we knew we could make changes on a pen. And kudos to my teachers. They blew me out of the water. They took things that I never even thought about and went with them in their grade bands. Like I said, we're unique with the pre-K 7. So I had, pre-K 2 band, a 3-5, a 6-7, working into our high school. But just crazy how they just evolved and innovated, doing all the things that we asked our kids to do. And throughout the year, like all of you said, just watching things happen, that decision making all the time. And one thing would pop up and they'd move right into it, moving kids in and out of, for us, like I said, we were face to face, but that didn't mean I didn't have 80 of my 225 home. And some of those were sick and some parents were sick, and just trying to meet them where they were, to say to a mom, turn off the computers, put them away, and just be with your kids. We'll take care of them in 2 weeks when they come back. I finally just had to give her permission to be mom and not worry about educating 3 of them in her home and trying to meet their needs. So just that gamut of decision making, rolling with the emotions. But again, I'm going to hold fast to thank you to Kansas for saying to us 4 years ago, do what's best for your kids. Yes, those state assessments tell us something, but they're a piece of that puzzle. They are not the puzzle. And for them to give us that opportunity to meet our kids has been incredible. And again, I'm coming right off a United School Administrator Conference where our commissioner stood in front of us again and showed us the growth that has happened over these last 4 years by allowing each district to do just that. A lot of mic drop moments and a lot of moments we've got to keep talking to our legislators about, that learning is happening, and we just have to stay on fire for that and just keep executing with the things that are going on. But also taking what we've learned from this and pushing forward. Like Stacy said, there's a lot that's happened and we've rolled through this year, and come September, we're going to pick it back up and really hit it hard and be stronger than we were ever before.
I love the recalibration talk right there. And that's what it'll come down to when we come back. So you're spot on. Josh,
I think right now the two words are compassion and consistency as our kids come back, because we have some idea what a lot of our kids and parents went through. And when they come back, not only are they going to be facing the ripple effect of probable death, of lack of employment, but also coming back to a structured environment. And we understand that also the majority of our team members have not been with kids, so they want to be too quick to pounce, to not allow them to ease on into a structured environment. So it's one of those things that we need to repeat with our team members. So if somebody sits in our chair, is to let them know, let's ease them in, let's guide them, not put up with stuff, but also take into consideration everything. Because one of the things that one of our team members said at a faculty meeting, she stood up and she said, you know what? I have insurance and I keep on getting a paycheck, not all my kids. We've been very blessed as educators that we haven't fallen off the track like a lot of our parents. So we need to do everything to go that extra mile. And when she said that, that really shook the room to look at the situation at hand. And that's going to be more of a consistency that we need to do sitting in our chairs via what we normally do, our morning announcements, our interaction with the kids in the hallways, is to let them know, no, son, I can't allow you to walk in the hallway with your cell phone. No, you have to have your ID on. No, if it's relevant to your school, you have to tuck in your shirt. You're not in your PJs with Netflix on the other TV. No, you're back in school. No, you can't wear your chanclas to school, sandals. No, you can't come in your PJ top only. And you know, those are things that I've heard from other schools when kids started coming back, that's how they were showing up. But it's one of those things that you have to be consistent, and you can't lay off on that because they haven't been, like some of you said, in our buildings for 2 years.
Yep.
They've been there, but they haven't been there. So it's compassion and consistency with our kids, letting them know that we're there for them, because here goes, ready? Kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And then they'll listen to you. Whatever you want to nag at them, they'll listen to you because they know you're saying it con corazón.
Spot on. You're absolutely right, Josh. Joe.
Hey guys, first and foremost, before I move too quickly into the subject area, I just want to give a shout out to my nephew's birthday. I was actually over at his house when I shot back over here so we could knock this out. And my daughter is graduating Tuesday from high school, so we're excited about all those things. What a tough senior year she's had. It's you know, my students get upset and they're like, we're in 8th grade, we don't get to go to the end of the year trip. I'm like, my daughter's a senior. Okay, think about that senior year. But boy, guys, we're all ready to rock and roll when it comes to thinking about next year and what we want to get into, and already foreseeing the things that are going to be, you know, grudge match or not. I know pajamas are hot right now out there. It seems to be that cool thing to do. You know, more and more with the kids and everything. So all the things that we're seeing, I was the same way with cell phones until everything was so tight because we were actually brick and mortar September 30th. But I realized that a lot of the kids were really utilizing their phones to talk to their parents. They were scared. They wanted to give reports out during the day. And I didn't want to weigh out what it is and what it was not. I was just happy to see some human beings walking through my building. And one of the things I can tell you, all the things that you guys are talking about are all things that are right there on my list of things that we want to ensure of. But public education is under the most intense competition it's ever been in, ever. You have many other school platforms that have sprouted, that have become relevant options for families out there. And public education now is going to be in a much more competitive nature. It has been over the last 10 years with charter schools rising, private vouchers, all those things. But public schools now are going to feel the heat more than ever. I think our school district was down 6,000 to 7,000. We've got over 180,000 students in our school district, but you know, we're down 6,000, 7,000. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of people who would not have positions. And so when I say it to word to you guys, the struggle is real. The struggle is real. And so you guys have known me for, you know, almost a year now in terms of just how I go about things on my standpoint, that your product has to match something that's as relevant as possible to what's going on out there. What we see over this pandemic, we saw a lot of things change. A lot of us opened up TD Ameritrade accounts. We became stock traders overnight. We became esports enthusiasts. We we saw a lot of things that we normally wouldn't jump into. And the problem that we take a look at those things and they're not just going to fade away. There are going to be some of the things that we're going to see are going to be gone. Some of the things that we have seen are here to stay forever. And some of the things, unfortunately and fortunately, are going to rear its ugly head back into education. So we're going to have to really take a step back and think about what the experience is going to be for our kids. My thing's always going to be about the student experience. Financial literacy is a heavy piece that I'm bringing in with the elective options. The kids are going to understand basic investments, but not only that, understand the stock market, that this isn't Vegas, understanding what they're learning about with this, paper trading, all those things. I'm not a cryptocurrency. I don't have a Bitcoin tattoo, but what I can tell you is I don't need my kids to not understand that there may be a new fiat, a currency that's bumping into the United States that they need to really understand, because they're my retirement. They're my future. They're the ones who are taking care of us, and we need to have a better understanding of this. The esports, you guys know, that was my original with you guys, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's a lot bigger than you think it is in terms of just Mario Brothers and things of that capacity. These kids are engaging online. They have this capability to engage in a whole different world, and it's continuing to grow more and more, and we really need to delve into that. And luckily, we've been able to. A lot of the programming taking a look at the intensive reading options for our kids. A lot of my kids have been in intensive reading for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. That time is over. That's done. These kids, I am going to do a hell or high water. I'm going to get them out of that intensive reading after a year or so to get them back into these rich electives that keep them at school. Your culinary, your fitness, all the things that surround your core classes need to become more and more relevant so that the kids know they've got the product right there in front of you. And I know I get on this tangent with you guys, but if we truly want to see the kids coming back to our schools, make sure the programs are matching what they're seeing outside, that they can help their parents out, help their families out, and be relevant immediately. So I'll leave that right there. I didn't mean to mic drop on you guys, but I really feel like this is the part we've got to bring back. All the other pieces, I agree with 110%. I'm going to have my hat backwards going after lanyards, cell phones, dress code all day long. But I want the kids to have a rich experience when they go to school and know that when they go home, they're also at the table making a decision on what school they want to go to and what experience they have. So it's our opportunity to say, public education, we've got this. We always had. We've got the best teachers. It'll never, ever be argued on that point. So just my piece, guys.
Relevance and student voice, very huge, man. I love it. Dr. White.
I think looking the two pieces that I think we are all talking about, SEL and the academic piece, as we get ready to start this new school year. We've already talked about in my school, the SEL component. Actually, my teachers came to me, my 6th grade teachers, and said, you know, we're really concerned about the babies that are, or the kids that are going to be coming into us. And this is the first time within the last couple of years they may have been in a building. We're really concerned about them being with the other grade levels. So they introduced the idea of starting the 6th grade academy. And with that 6th grade academy, really going literature rich, really going with isolating those kids in the different exploratories. And, you know, they sat down and they presented me with the plan, and they said, hey, we can do this, 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 and this. And then I gave them my criteria. Hey, okay, if you want me to do this, if you want me to look at this master schedule and make this happen, you know, I have to have this commitment from you to do this, 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 and this. And they were like, yeah, we'll do it. You know, we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that our kids are coming in and feeling secure, coming in and are being prepared well to move forward. So we're going to start with that. We have a superintendent, once again, that has really looked at reimagining what our district looks like. And his focus is on pushing, making sure that we give the kids more arts programs and things like that. I think one of the things that Joe said, we're starting a culinary arts class. That is one of our big pieces for us. We're starting a new dance class and allowing the kids to take that. We already had a very robust exploratory offering for kids, but we're just trying to increase that even more so that our kids can come in and they can find some, you know, some joy throughout the day, not just that curriculum push that we're going to be doing. The other piece when we're talking about curriculum is making sure that vertical teaming or that vertical planning is going according to plan, so that our 7th grade teachers know exactly where those 6th grade scholars stopped at and what they need to push as soon as they walk through the door. What skills did they not really master? Of course, our state test won't be back, or teachers won't have really a chance to plan looking at the state test, but they can talk to their colleagues and say, okay, I know I need to come in doing this, and this. So I think that piece is very important. And I think we just have to stay fluid with the social, emotional, and the academic piece. We can't go in saying anything is an absolute. I think we have to look at the kids and see how they're developing and make some decisions around how the kids do each and every day. And that's how we move forward, not coming in saying, hey, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. Hey, you have to take this, you have to take that. Just taking everything into consideration and operating with the best interest of the kids, not anybody else's agenda toward a curriculum. So, that's what we're going to do as we come in this school year.
No canned approach is good right there. And like they said, if the dance floor is empty, change the song, man. I know somebody who wrote a book about that, so we can talk about that a little more later on. But AJ, you're up.
Yeah, I think this year more than ever, the year coming up, we need to start telling our story in our schools. I think the use of social media is going to be incredibly huge because, as mentioned before, our teachers are heroes and they should be recognized as that. Of course, we have the academics, we have the curriculum, but I think right now it's just getting our students back on track. And I think we need to show families that this is what we're doing in our school and throughout the schools, throughout the country and throughout the world. Like, we have to show that teachers are still heroes and they're going to be there for the kids every day. Whether it's academic, whether it's SEL, whether it's based on the electives and all that we're doing in our school, we have to show this is exactly what it is. I feel like the parents know that teachers are there, but I think at the same point, they don't know what's going on. They don't know what it looks like. They don't know, what teaching is. They know there's technology. They know there's computers. They know that this is going on. But I think we need to show that the compassion is there from our leaders, from our teachers. I just feel like we're missing that. And I feel like this whole year we've missed that. And a lot of the narrative that's been put out there for schools has been mixed. It's been fake. But I think going forward, if we continue to connect with our community and push forward and show them the amazing things that are happening in our schools, I think we'll have parents eating out of our hands very nicely. I think they want their kids in schools. I think they appreciate the fact that the teachers are there and we're there for them. But I think they need to see exactly what it is that we're doing in our schools that makes them excited about coming each and every day.
110%, AJ. And, everybody tonight, Stacy, Joe, Josh, Dr. Clark, AJ, Frederick, Dean, and we all talked about very similar ideas. And, it comes down to finding out what the new balance is going to be next year. Yes, we got social emotional. Yes, we've got academic, but we've got a new layer to understanding what that normal may look like. Dean, love the mask. Take that thing off, please. Someday we will be back to that. But, the idea of finding out what that new balance looks like is really key and exceptional. Those of you out there in the audience tonight, following Navigating Leadership and Unlock the Middle, please know that the purpose of this platform is to connect and engage and provide opportunity for new thought or to provide sustenance for your own thought. If you heard a message that was similar to you, or if you heard something that was new, or if you heard something that was contrary, please reach out to any member on this panel and forum. Connect with us on social media. Reach out to Dean Araya if you have an idea about getting onto the show. It's all about connecting and being better, because guaranteed that the mountain that we climbed over this past year plus could never have been achieved or attained if it weren't for others. And I got to tell you, members on this screen, man, we connected with you at various times throughout the last year since Dean and I created this platform back in July. And we really are blessed to have had a think tank at our fingertips, and none of this can be done alone. And speaking of not alone, Thursday night, Dean, we've got an AP roundtable that's occurring at 9 p.m. Looking forward to hosting some assistant principals as we talk about that Thursday night on the Unlock the Middle platform. AP
AJ's involved with that right there. There he is right there, the rising star.
Yes,
right
sir.
There.
We're definitely looking forward to that. And, just before we close, just thank you to all of the educators that are out there for the work that you have done, whether you're a superintendent or you're an instructional assistant, a bus driver, a teacher, a cafeteria worker. You are all educators, and you are all frontline, from administrative secretaries right on down through maintenance. You have contributed to the life of the school and the betterment of our kids and our communities. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody, it's Sunday night and it's 90 degrees out. It is time to jump back in the pool and rest and relax before undertaking some more standardized testing tomorrow and the last 2 weeks of school. Hey, be well, everybody. Let's get some rest and recharge. Great to see you all.